Okay. Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome back to our series, Career Exploration Series that we've been doing every night here on COL, 9 o'clock. We've been going through many different popular industries with our community and getting experts in the field to come and to share their knowledge and their experience and to take Q&A to help you decide if the industry is the right one for you. Just a quick introduction. Yehoshua Worthy, the director of CHYE and the JCC Workforce Program, which is a division of the JCC of Greater Coney Island. And we've been doing these programs because we have a year-round program which is dedicated to helping people with jobs and with careers. We have the JCC Workforce Program, which is here year-round to help people with job search, with career assessment, resume prep, interview prep, everything that has to do with landing a job. We're here year-round to help you with. And if any of you watching this are looking for a job or need help finishing or fixing your resume or need help preparing for an interview or you need help with career assessment to help you decide which direction you want to go, please reach out to us at any time, workforce@jccgci.org, and we will be here to try to assist you along that journey. So part of our program is that we brought this series to Crown Heights. We want to give you a chance to explore these different popular career pathways. And so one of the very popular career pathways in our community is the sales industry. Now, the sales industry is very broad. Every type of business that's out there needs a salesperson. There's many different types of sales roles. And then there's also, even within being a salesperson, there's many different types of types of sales. There's inbound sales and outbound sales, and there's commission-based sales, and there's salary-based sales, and it's a whole world to itself. The upside of sales jobs is that there could potentially be a great salary, and it's also a person-to-person type of thing. So if you're that person that likes to have freedom and likes to be person-to-person, sometimes this could be potentially a fantastic industry for you. So really, to come here and help us make sense of the whole industry, I'd like to welcome a good friend, somebody who goes back many, many years. Yitzi, please, yes, unmute yourself and come in. Yitzi came in. We were together in yeshiva many, many years ago, and family friends for so many years. Yitzi is somebody who has excelled in the sales industry, and he had become a trainer to salespeople, guiding educational programs to help salespeople become more effective. And he really has seen the industry from the inside, and he's here to share with us an insider's view of the sales industry. So without further ado, I'll pass on the microphone to Yitzi, and I will. So again, our format has always been 20-minute presentation followed by 10 minutes Q&A. You'll see my email address, workforce@jccgci.org. It's here right now on the poster. It's also in the COL article. If you see questions or you want to log in and ask questions directly from Zoom, please email me. I'll get you to log in, and I'll post your questions to Yitzi to answer at the end of his presentation. So Yitzi, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shua. Just give me a sound check. Can you hear me? Thumbs up, wave, something. Can you hear me, Shua? Okay, well, I hope you can, so I'm going to begin.
1 second, Yitzi, did you hear me the whole? I was talking the whole time. Were you able to hear me?
I was not able to hear you, no.
Oh my gosh, I think that I've been talking for a long time, and I must have pushed a button. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and Shalom Aleichem. I think that I technically made a little boo-boo, and I've been doing the whole introduction without my sound on. So
I heard the introduction. I just didn't hear you respond when I asked if you could hear me.
Oh, okay, sorry. I hear you loud and clear. Okay, I just was afraid that maybe my whole thing was muted. So the floor is yours, Yitzi. I'll be in the background.
Okay, great. So thank you, Shua, for asking me to come on and have an opportunity to talk about sales. It's really a great career for people, and I know this whole series is about helping people think about different careers. So here's one to think about. I'll say right at the start of this, I went out on a limb a little bit, and I'm not using any slides. which is usually something you'd see in a sales presentation. Just want to have a conversation and give people an opportunity to hear what the career is about. Certainly if it's something that's interests you, you'll have an opportunity to pursue it further. And my intent is really to talk about sales from the perspective of someone deciding whether this is an avenue they want to pursue as a career. So tonight's discussion is intended to help you think about whether this is something that you'd want to look into a little bit more. Certainly, when it comes to sales, as Shua said, there are many different types, and we'll touch on some of those. But there's also many, many presentations that you can watch around sales skills and best sales practices, if you decide this is a career you'd like to get into. So just a little bit about me in brief. I've been working for New York Life for about 18 years. It's a life insurance and financial services company. About 10 of those years was spent direct selling. I started as an agent in New York Life. Then I managed agents and trained agents for a number of years. And for the last few years, I've been working in their main office, their home office, on product development and sales activities to drive sales of new products. So I just wanted to give you that background so you have some context of where I'm coming from. A lot of my personal experience and some of the things I'm going to share are a direct result of my time as an agent at New York Life. And I think one of the things that you'll see or hear a little bit about is that sales, really any industry, the core crux of what it is to be in sales and what a career in sales is like, really works across industries. There's certainly nuanced differences, but whether it's a life insurance agent, a real estate broker, even retail sales, there's a lot of commonality there. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to be in sales and how that applies specifically to our market. And I should say that my intent of this presentation is at the end of this, you have a little bit of a better understanding of what a career in sales is like, and also some next steps on what to do about it if it's something you'd like to pursue. So that's my intent for this presentation. So what are the benefits and what does it mean to be in sales? And maybe specifically a little bit with a lens for our market and the Crown Heights market or other Jewish communities that may be listening to this. Sales success really comes after you stretch yourself past your limits on a daily basis. That's actually a quote. Sales success comes after you stretch yourself past your limits on a daily basis. And what that really means, if you think about that, it really highlights some of the things around the career opportunity for sales. The first is that there's unlimited potential in the right sales structure. And that's a key area to focus on, again, whether it's as an insurance agent, a real estate broker, or some other of that type of industry. You want to be in a career that gives you unlimited potential. So when I talk about sales, I'm not really talking about, working at H&M at the counter. While that is a sales job, that's not the opportunity that I think about if I'm talking to someone about a career in sales. So unlimited potential is key. Be in business for yourself, either by yourself or with support of others. So be in the position that you control your business is key. And that's where sales comes in. And a third thing is the educational requirements to get into sales is generally lower than it may be to get into something else. So where that sort of, yeah.
Yes,
Hello?
I stopped hearing you. You want to check your...
Can you hear me? I hear myself. I think people can hear me.
Okay, fine. Yes, it's back on. Sorry.
Okay. Well, Shua, I hope you're recording it, because if there are some mishaps with the hearing, at least we'll have something we can post. So I'm going to keep on going. Hopefully people can hear me. I just wanted to tie the career opportunity to our market, which is the unlimited potential, being in business by yourself, for yourself, and the limited educational requirements. Those really tie well to what we need in our community. you know, getting a salary is nice, but it's hard to get a salary that really provides enough income for the type of expenses that we have. Being in business by yourself really gives you an opportunity to control your own schedule. And the limited educational requirements really is helpful for, a lot of people who are not necessarily going to college and getting a bachelor's degree, let alone a master's degree. The bar to get in is a little lower. Now, I don't want to, just on that note, I don't want to misinform that education is not important, and that there isn't a baseline of education that you need. But a lot of the education in sales can be learned on the job. It's just to get that initial, to get hired or to get into something is a lot easier, and you can learn on the job, which is great for our community. So there's many different opportunities, in every industry has a sales component. There's retail sales, internet sales, wholesale, payment services. You think of Amazon, insurance, leasing, mortgages. I mean, there are so many different types of sales, and I would bucket them into a couple of things, or maybe really three things. There's consumer-facing sales, business-facing sales, and what I'll call retail-facing sales. Although that may be to consumers, but that's a storefront, for example. For consumers, I think the most common ones that you'd run into are mortgage, mortgage broker, insurance, life insurance agent, financial planning, real estate broker, stock broker, something along those lines. B2B, business to business. I think the most common one in our community, would be payment services, for example. And then you certainly have, I don't want to miss some of the, online businesses, the whole wholesale, Amazon selling, and all of that is certainly sales as well. So there's a lot of different sales, that someone can get into, and we'll talk more about that as we keep on going. So one thing that I want to talk about with sales, and this has to do a little bit with, hey, is sales for me? So if you start thinking through that lens, the technical definition of a sale, and this is a quote from the dictionary, a sale is a transaction between two or more parties in which the buyer receives tangible or intangible goods or services. So at the end of the day, when we think of a sale, we think of an exchange of something for something. In our line of work, when it comes to sales today, the real context to be successful really has to do with problem solving. What is the issue that the person have that you can help them with? So here's another quote: approach each customer with the idea of helping him or her to solve a problem or achieve a goal, not of selling a product or service. And that's an important part for being successful with sales today. So what I mean by that, as an example, a person may want a house. To do that, they need a mortgage. To do that, they need a mortgage broker. A person may want to protect their family. To do that, they need life insurance. To do that, they need a life insurance agent. A person may want to drive upstate every weekend in the summer, and to do that, they need a car, and to do that, they need a leasing agent. So what's very important is that sales, if you want to be successful in sales, you have to think about it as providing a solution and not pushing a commodity. And the reason why that's extremely important is because often the barrier to getting into sales from a mental perspective is, can I sell? Am I going to be embarrassed if I become a salesperson? And if you can sort of switch your mindset into what it is that you're providing solutions to people's problems to help them get what they need, it makes it very easy to think about a successful career in sales. So sales is something that inherently is in all of us. We buy things on a daily basis. Today, sometimes in an hourly basis, if you can't get away from your Amazon cart. And we're selling people all the time. When we want to convince a colleague to do something, when we want to convince our spouse to do something, when we're trying to get a better deal, on a purchase, those all involve sales interactions. So we're often selling without thinking about it, again, to solve our own problems. So that's an important component when you're thinking about sales. Now, if I was getting into sales again, something I'd be asking myself is, how do I know if I'm capable? What are the traits? Are they given or developed? Are you born a salesperson, or is this something that you can actually learn? And the truth is, I answered it a moment ago. The truth is, we all have it in us. We have a sales component in us, and what it depends on is the effort that we want to put into uncovering our talent. If we decide that we want to get into a career in sales, we can find those character traits within us. It's really just about believing that the solutions that you're providing, going back to what I said earlier, is in context of helping people. So for me, just to relate that personally, for me, when I started as an agent at New York Life, I'll be honest, it was not a career decision that I made. I didn't wake up one day and say, "Hey, I want to get into sales." I was trading stocks before then, but personally, not for other people. And an opportunity came up to talk to someone who was the managing partner of a sales office in New York Life, and I had a conversation with the person, and they sort of led me down a path of, "Hey, you want to get some education, learn about financial products. Why don't you come in and just try?" And where I'm going with the story is that when I was done getting educated, he looked at me and said, "Okay, now it's time to go sell." And I was time to go sell. What does that exactly mean? Well, from a life insurance agent, at least at that point in time, this is 18 years ago, 17 years ago, that really involved the phone, picking up the phone and calling people, finding people to talk to. And that was not within my nature. But if I dug deep and understood what my objectives were, I had my own personal objectives to be successful. I had personal objectives to provide for my family. And I was able to see how the products and services I was offering were helping people. Well, that made it easier for me to call. Not easy, but easier. And what I learned, and what many other good salespeople learn over time, is that you are able to change yourself by finding your own abilities and therefore your potential. And that's really what's key about sales, that I would encourage anyone or all of you who are listening and thinking about this as a career. There's work. There's always going to be work, certainly if you want to be successful. But the potential is in almost all of us to be successful in a career like this. The question is if we're able to sidestep our own issues and overcome our own negativities about it. But the potential is there. So some of what you have to tap into: drive. You have to find your drive, motivation, reasons to motivate yourself, discipline. Sales, is often something you have to go out and get people and find the people who are interested. And that requires discipline to do that. You're running your own business. If you get into the right type of sales, that requires discipline as well. Communication skills, getting effective at not just talking to people, but reading people, being able to understand, their body language, their emotions. That's important. Sometimes some persuasiveness. Sometimes people have an issue. They know they want it. They know they need it, but they have something that's preventing them from moving forward, and you have to help them see that. One thing that is important to sales, and I do want to put this really right in front of, again, anyone who's thinking about it, is there is rejection that comes with sales. There's no question about that. Well, there's rejection that comes with life in general, in anything that you do, but being able to move past the rejections and, people who are not interested, that's okay. Other people are interested, is really one of the first things you have to learn. And the truth is, once you're able to get past that, not just your business life, gets improved, but it really helps you personally as well. And some enthusiasm. I'll put that in as well. You have to be enthusiastic about what you do. and sales certainly requires that. So I think if you thought about that list one more time, because I don't have slides, it's drive, motivation, discipline, communication, persuasiveness, handling rejections, and enthusiasm. I think everyone here would say, oh, I have all of those traits. So if you raise your hand and you say you have all those traits somewhere in you, you may not have discovered all of them, but they're in you, then you have the ability to be successful in sales. Now let's talk a little bit about compensation, because that's an important aspect, right? Money. Loosely defined, at a high level, there's two types of ways of getting compensated in sales. One is commissions. You get paid for what you do. Another is salary, which is you get paid for coming somewhere and doing what's asked of you for the time that you're there, or some combination of the two. It's possible that you can start a job in sales or career in sales where they start you off with a salary, there's a bonus, there's a draw, there's a quota, an accelerator, all different terms. My personal preference is and my encouragement to someone getting into sales is to try to get into something that is all or mostly commission. And sometimes that's hard initially. It's a little scary when you're starting out, but if you're going to get into this line of work, you want that unlimited potential. You don't want to be behind a counter getting paid, an hourly wage, or getting paid for only what people bring to you. You want to be able to go out there and really get the most potential. And the commission structure is really the best way to do that. It's really the main reason to get into a career in sales, and it gives you the ability to grow your own future. And your reward from your business will be the compensation. So it's certainly worth the effort. So I'll leave compensation at a high level at that. I did want to throw out a couple of numbers. So again, I work for New York Life, so I'm just going to speak for some information around agents who work for New York Life. Certainly, every industry works a little bit different, and you can just Google facts about average incomes for different sales careers, and you can find this. For a life insurance agent, and specifically at New York Life, we have about 14,000 active agents. The average, well, let's say the top 1,000 agents, so of those 14,000 agents, the top 1,000 earn about $500,000 a year in commission. The top 25 earn about $2.25 million. The average income amongst all the agents is somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000. Now, I purposely wanted to share all those numbers so you can see the disparity between those. Those that are most successful, the top 1,000, their average is about $500,000 a year. And, and those are sort of with everyone middle, average across all the agents at large are more at 75,000 to 100,000. Now, everyone's in their own situation, so I don't know how that sounds to each of you personally, those numbers. But the point is, all of those agents have the same opportunity. It's what they do with it and how they make themselves successful that determines whether they're making a few $1,000,000 or $75,000. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of some context for what numbers sound like. But again, as you think about different industries, you'll want to look into those industries and see what the income potential looks like for those. So let's talk about the industries here, because I do want to leave you with really, what are your next steps? If you want to move forward with this, where do you go from here? How do you pursue this? So the first thing that I would say is think about the types of industries that may interest you. And I'm sort of underscoring the may, because you're not really going to know without having been in an industry which one is one that interests you. But if you just sort of think back a little bit and say, hey, mortgages, insurance, real estate, investments, or business to business, payment services, Amazon, like just think a little bit about and try to narrow down the list to a few. Don't just necessarily choose one, but narrow it down a little bit. And then talk to some people in those industries. Do a little bit of homework. And what I would encourage you there is talk to those that are successful. There's a lot of people who get into any industry or any career, including sales, that are not successful at it. It doesn't help to talk to the people who didn't do a good job and were not able to make a career out of it. Negativity is not what you're looking for. Talk to people who have made it and are successful in the industry. And that will give you a better idea if you're thinking of one versus the other, maybe what to explore. But I wouldn't stop there. I would narrow it down to 2 or 3 choices, and then I'd go and reach out to those companies. And I would meet those companies, meet the industry, and feel it out that way a little bit more. So as an immediate next step, think about some of these industries: consumer, business, retail, mortgage, insurance, real estate, B2B. Talk to some successful people, and then meet with some of the companies. That last part is key. It's important because you want to hear what resources and what opportunities they're going to provide to you. And then think about if you want to be an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur. The subtle difference there is, do you want to work solely by yourself and start by yourself? Do you want to open up, Amazon selling and just sort of figure that out? You want to try to make it as a real estate broker on your own? Or do you want to work for a well-established company as an intrapreneur? And the nuanced difference there is they're often going to be providing you with some resources, tools and training to get started, maybe with some limited, some limitations on your income up front, but usually not holding back your ability to grow and your potential to grow larger. So I have a personal bias to intrapreneur, where you're getting support of a large company. Again, I started New York Life. Mortgages could be, JP Morgan Chase, for example. There's a whole host of real estate companies out there. So think about that. Go for a few interviews. Set a goal for yourself. Sell yourself first. If you're thinking about this as a career, and you're thinking and thinking and thinking, got to just jump in. Give it a try. Worst that will happen is you learn something and you decide to move on. But I'd say just jump in, and that's the best way to get started. So if you want any more information, certainly feel free to reach out. I don't know if my personal information is being put out there, but you can reach out to Shua, and he can give you some information about how to reach out to me. I'm happy to provide more information around info and sales in general. There's a lot of tools, there's a lot of books, there's a lot of things one can get into when they start thinking about it, or if you're particularly interested in a career at New York Life or something else in that industry. So the last thing I'd say is success is as much as you want to put into it in this industry. And one quote to end on is, pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says, "Make me feel important." If you do that, that will help you succeed in sales, and it will also help you to succeed in life. So I'm going to stop there, Shua. That was about 20 minutes or so.
Yes, and I want to say, excellent. I see why you were a sales trainer. You really very thorough, very, very clear, covered everything. Fantastic, and thank you. So we're going to transition over to the Q&A segment. Again, you see my email out there, workforce@jccgci.org. For those of you that are watching that want to send in questions for Yitzi, please send them to me and I'll post them to Yitzi. Once again, for those of you that might have tuned in now as opposed to at the beginning, this is part of the JCC Workforce Program, which is here year-round to help our community with jobs. If you're looking for a job, if you need career counseling, you need resume writing help, you need interview prep, we're here year-round. Just send us an email. We'd love to help you. There's a lot of jobs that have been coming up of late. Baruch Hashem, there's just, the recovery is slowly starting. And in the last week, we've gotten a lot of calls from companies looking to hire. And if you're looking for temp work, there's actually a few companies that are looking to hire people even on a temporary basis. Please reach out to us. So Yitzi, before I take, I have some questions coming up, but before we do that, actually you brought up it before we started. What about now we're in COVID-19? How is that affecting the sales industry? You have any comments on that?
Yeah, I thank you for reminding about that. I mean, I would say that it certainly has an impact. There's an immediate impact on the sales industry. You see everything shut, stores are shut. People are not buying as much. There's certainly no real estate market. Even in the financial industry, services industry, people are not making decisions. So as an immediate impact, it's had a huge impact. What I would say to that is, it's a short-term impact. And I would not let that stand in the way of anyone who's thinking about a career in sales. I'd say maybe not just the opposite, but maybe something to think about is being in a career in sales allows you to weather situations like this. You have an opportunity, 2 months pass, and you have an opportunity to sort of ramp up what you were doing before and make up for some of that lost time. So definitely an immediate impact on sales, but nothing that I see that would have a long-term impact on people in a career in sales today or thinking about getting into it in the future.
I think it's like every other thing. Sales is part of every single industry. Just some industries are hit more than others. So it depends what industry you're in. But sales is.
I was just going to say, I was just thinking, because we're on a Zoom meeting right now, adapting in sales, I didn't really get into this, but adapting in sales is key. And, from a New York Life perspective, our agents sell generally by solving problems face to face, meeting people, and they had to adopt over the last month or two and how to virtually meet people. So being able to adapt to the times and being able to adapt to the situation is a key component of sales, but it allows you to do that. So that's a benefit.
Okay, so here's a question that came in. I recently just left a job where I was a salesperson and I felt completely used by my employer. And truthfully, I just said my own comment. I hear that a lot, where you have these young people that go for sales positions and they end up walking away feeling like the business owner was just taking them for a ride. How does one evaluate? There's so many sales opportunities. I think we're in the job placement division over here. The sales positions galore. Every company is ready to. Many companies are ready to take salespeople because it doesn't cost them anything. They do a commission based. So when you bring in sales, that's when you make money. So how does somebody evaluate if it's a legitimate opportunity? How do they avoid ending up in those situations where they feel like they've been taken for a ride or they've been used?
Yeah, that's a fair question. It goes back to a little bit about what I said. You want to get in, when you think about sales, you want to get into a well-established industry, and you want to at least, initially work for a well-established company in that industry. So, I think maybe, I don't know what that person did previously, submitted the question, but if you think about, I don't want to single out any particular store, but if you think about a retail store and you're working behind the counter in sales, or you have a certain quota that was given to you by a manager to hit in some other sales perspective, that could be, really tough and can wear a person down. But, if you get into something where there's a little bit more backing behind you, real estate, mortgages, insurance, financial services, and it's with a company that's invested in your success, there's going to be less of that feeling used and burnout, because the potential is really going to be all you. And whatever you do is going to be the direct result. What you get is going to be the direct result of what you do. And when you have that, so what I mean by that is, it's not a commission of, sell this and you're going to get, 1% or 2%. It's, you're going to get involved in something and the payout is large. That's really where you get a benefit. And I'll just add the point. And again, I'm speaking from the company I work for that I know. When we have a new agent come on board, we spend tens of thousands of dollars training and educating that agent. And I'll go out on a limb to say, even losing money initially, as a company, for all the time and effort that people are putting in. So getting involved in companies like that that have those resources available is the better career path for sales that would help in a situation like that.
Okay, I have another question that came in. I just wanted to make a comment that I don't remember if you mentioned. Okay, a lot of people that, I mean, the word sales is used so broadly. There's inbound sales where people just like salespeople in different retail operations, where they're just dealing with people. It's customer service. That's really not what we're talking about tonight. For those of you that are
Correct.
listening to this, that type of inbound sales is a salary position. If you love working with people and you don't want the stress of that, that might be the right pathway for you. All the sales we've been talking about tonight is outbound sales, where you have to go out and generate those sales. So another question that came in is how do you calculate what's a legitimate commission? This person, I guess, he has an opportunity right now, and the person is telling him, I'll give you XYZ commission. Is there any equation where you calculate if that's considered a fair commission?
That's a difficult question to answer without having more details on the circumstance. I would say that for most large industries, commissions are regulated. Financial services, mortgage, insurance. There's a lot of state regulation on how commissions work to ensure that salespeople get what they deserve. Yeah, if you're really dealing with someone and this is a smaller operation, you have to do a little bit of math to get some expectation of what the sales are going to be like, what the potential could be, and enough that it works for you. So what I mean by that is, if you're getting involved with someone who has a very small family operation and they're looking for you to be a salesperson, and every sale you're negotiating how much you're going to get, you sort of have to start with, well, what do I need to be successful? If I'm going to work for this person, I need to come home with 100,000 a year, 200,000 a year, $500,000. What are my goals? And then what do I think I can really accomplish from a sales perspective, and do the math that way. For me, if I was thinking about it, that's what I would do. I'm not saying the owner of the business may necessarily just jump on board with it, but if you don't see a clear path to getting the financial success that you're looking for, then I wouldn't jump into it.
Okay, one final question that just came up. Somebody wanted to know if you have any recommendations of books or what, this person is in sales already and they want to take up their game. What recommended reading resources to help them become a better salesperson?
Yeah, I mean, today the resources galore. Some of the classic books that come to mind: Brian Tracy, The Psychology of Selling; Zig Ziglar, Selling 101; How to Master the Art of Selling, Tom Hopkins. I mean, there's these are a little bit of classics. There may be some newer ones as well, but there's just so much out there. There's a lot of stuff online today. There's a lot of organizations that provide that as well. So I would say some of those that I mentioned: Psychology of Selling, Selling 101, How to Master the Art of Selling, The 25 Sales Habits of a Highly Successful Salesperson. It's by Stephen Schiffman. That's another classic. So it's all out there. And I guess in the interest of time, I'll just end that question there. But certainly Google some stuff and you'll find some more info.
Okay, this has really been a wonderful discussion. Yitzi, a master presenter. Thank you very much once again. For those of you listening, if you enjoy what Yitzi had to say and you want to try to reach out to him, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to connect him with you. And again, if you're looking for a job or you need help, career counseling, or any other job related services, we're here free of charge for the community. Reach out to us anytime, workforce@jccgci.org. And thank you once again to COL Live for being the host of this wonderful series. We look forward to seeing you. We're continuing the series. Tomorrow night is actually focused on more of the female industry. We're having a hair care and shetelmaching industry going to be discussed tomorrow night. And then Thursday night, we'll be discussing accounting industry. Following Sunday, we'll actually be talking about the court reporter industry, which is a very unique industry. And from there, we'll continue, God willing, after Lag BaOmer. So stay with us, 9 p.m. tomorrow night, COL Live. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and shukaya.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Have a good night, everyone.
Take care. Have a